Hello, welcome to this your channel, the Eurofan. Text me. Ireland is still having problems. It seems like they do not get with the key to conquer the audience, giving the impression of those golden years where they consolidated as a Eurovision power are distant in time. And it's because the proposal presented by the guys from White Youth in last year's contest marked a 4th consecutive disqualification for the Gaelic country, and they want to get back into the competition one way or another. In the meanwhile, we will see who had the occasion of carrying the Irish colours in Momo. Let's go! For today's episode, I'm going to review the Irish entry for Eurovision 2024, which has been represented by singer Bambie Thug with the song Doomsday Blue. We start by giving a review to the biography and career of them before then embarking in their Eurovision adventure. Bambie Ray Robinson, mostly well known as Bambie Thug, is an Irish singer and songwriter from Swedish father and Irish mother, coming from the town of Macroom located in Southern Ireland, and currently living in the British capital, London. They get involved with music since very early age, having their first incursions as a singer by participating in the choir club at the school where they studied, winning with that choir club a national school choir competition during that time. However, they initially thought about becoming a dancer, then started to get ballet classes during their high school studies, with the goal of studying professional dance at the university. They will move to London to study at the Jordan Academy, where they will receive a partial scholarship for their ballet studies. But it happened that they broke their arm during their time in college, then switching to studying musical theater. After graduating from the academy, they will spend 2 years teaching themselves how to write and sing their own songs. In 2021, they released their first singles as an artist, with very explicit lyrics discussing usually controversial topics, like drug addiction, explicit sex or witchcraft, as well as personal topics for themselves, like the mental health and the body dysmorphia they suffer, which is noticeable in their artistic style and appearance, often quite extravagant. They define their own musical style in some way as hyperpunk avant electropop, although they recently use most the term Ouija pop, as they usually like to blend and experiment with many musical genres, being reluctant of being classified in a specific musical genre. They will be releasing more singles during 2022, until they release their first EP independently in the middle of last year, with which they started to get noticed in the indie musical scene. Besides their musical side, they have been diagnosed with ADHD since very early age, which has influenced many aspects of their life, and also gets identified as a non-binary person. It will be the second non-binary person to participate in the contest for this year, together with Nemo, who competed for Switzerland. They are also known for practicing neo-pagan witchcraft, particularly on the use of sigils and manifestation magic, which have had a huge impact in their musical world, as I have mentioned before, often using spells and hexes into lyrics of their songs. After knowing more about them, now you must wonder how is that they ended up representing Ireland at Eurovision. Let's take a look right now in further detail. Keeping the strategy for the previous 2 years, the Irish Prologue broadcaster would open once again for their national final Euro song, again as a part of the special edition of the program The Late Late Show. The submission period will open in mid-July of last year for the Irish artists and songwriters who wanted to take part in the process, which will be initially closed in late September, but then it was extended to mid-October of last year. After the deadline, it was known that 378 proposals were received, representing in this case a slight increase compared to the past edition. The selection of the participating songs will be reduced to 2 phases compared to last year. In the first phase, an expert panel will be reviewing all the received proposals, shortlisting them to 60, and in the second phase, the 6 artists that will take part in the competition will be selected, being Bambie and Bone Toast finalists, who were announced together with their participating songs in early last January through a special show of the Irish Public Radio. The format, in the other hand, will keep the same dynamic already used in previous editions without significant changes. than during the televised show which took place in late last January. After the live performances of all the finalists, the voting results revealed that Bambie was the absolute favorite for both the national jury and the public, while they were the third most voted artist for the international jury, earning the points needed to get the victory in the national final, and thus having the right of representing Ireland on the main stage of Momo. Their victory in the national final drew an unprecedented attention in the country by getting both praises from many local media and artists, including two-time Eurovision winner Johnny Logan, and criticism from many personalities from the far-right movement and the Catholic Church. Although they stated that despite all the criticism they could receive for their proposal, they have felt a huge support from the audience nationwide, and that is what makes them keep moving forward. Shortly after their victory, they will work then in the recording and production of what it will be the official music video, which will be officially released in early March. It is definitely a unique, extravagant and disruptive track. Let's find out more about this proposal with which they attended the contest. As they have been doing in their musical work so far, the melody blends many musical genres, combining in this case alternative rock, pop and even some jazz, eventually following that line in which you cannot enclose their songs in a specific musical genre. It is to clear out that it is a song that it is not for easy listening, especially from the mixture of all these genres which make it quite disruptive and different compared to what is usually heard on mainstream music. Bambie's voice is surprising in this case due to the diversity of shades it has, starting with a heartbreak and gloomy style during the verses, even sometimes using a synthesized voice, going through a more melodic style during the chorus and the bridge, and closing with a growler style, which is very common in heavy metal and industrial rock. About the lyrics, it has been written by themselves together with a group of songwriters. Discussing the context behind it, they have commented in many interviews that the song talks about feelings of heartbreak, deception, and unrequited love, describing it as explosive and hard-hitting, but sweet and soulful at the same time, as they usually do in their compositions. The song includes many spells, being the most notable the very well-known spell Avada Kedavra, popularized by the Harry Potter book series. But here comes the most outstanding part, as they also have commented that they initially applied with this song in the Irish national final, with the idea of cursing out somehow the memories of being raped from last year by a person they considered a friend, 3 weeks before performing in a renowned musical festival in the United Kingdom. I guess in this case that the composition of the song has been a therapeutic process for them, taking into account the terrible event they had to experience, in a way to exteriorize their pain and anger. Reading the lyrics more in detail, it precisely reflects all those thoughts and feelings that normally come after a heartbreak, describing it as the Doomsday Blue, appealing to the song's title. But knowing beforehand about its background, it reflects the state of mind of a person that has been feeling traumatized due to that bad experience. As usually happens with the songs which talk about failed love relationships, more than a message, it transmits a quite intense emotional state. It is comprehensible that they have been looking to tell their truth through the song, no matter how painful it could be, but at the same time needed for their healing process, in addition to the psychological therapy, of course, to overcome it and move forward. Taking into account the both dark and sweet content seen with the song, let's see now how they portray it through the official music video. The plot begins seeing a book titled as Blaze Bible, which Bambie grabs along with a pen. By opening the book, you can realize that it is just a regular notebook in which they start to write. But it comes especially to attention the phrases previously written, much of them in allusion to their former boyfriend in the song, and especially with the name of James Hancock, written in the caption and a picture from which is read the word cheat on it. Will it be the person from which Bambie got victimized in real life? It could be possible, but it's still a supposition. Then they start to perform the first verse, being in the living room of a house surrounded by many lighted candles making a circle of salt, and making spells for a voodoo ritual judging by the blue tone they use in the process, burning it with drops of wax, of immersing it in a tub with flower petals, herbs, and salts. In some moment, the shots become more frantic while all these different scenes alternate, including ones in which they are seen with the Blaze Bible, being in place while they are holding it. In the first chorus, the scene changes and the rhythm of the song as well, seeing Bambie in a sort of romantic dream world, with a crescent moon in a fisheye shot, wearing outfits proper of fairy tales, while they miss their boyfriend by wandering in the forest, playing badminton with themselves, or in a table full of very colorful cakes and pastries with a teapot and teacups. With the second verse, the dark thing returns back, while they still performing the song while continuing the voodoo ritual, as suddenly appears a creature from the curtains of the living room, making presence very close to Bambie, with them noticing its presence while witnessing themselves in the mirror. By the second chorus, it comes back to the romantic dream world, but now being them with the creature from before, walking by the forest with it, playing badminton, the two of them, or eating cakes and drinking tea with that creature. During the bridge of the song, the scene changes to the dark thing one more time, while there are alternations of Bambie looking out through the window of the house, or outdoors themselves or with the creature, which are initially seen in the same romantic mood from the dream world of before, until the situation changes by the outro, with the creature now chasing Bambie by the dark forest, alternating with shots of them doing the growler voice. It is evident that he is portraying somehow their dark background hidden into lyrics, without being too explicit but being easily comprehensible, finishing the performance with them having a haunting gaze. We can guess after having screamed that much, and symbolizing that painful state lived by them. But when you think that the music video has finished, there is a different scene with Bambie entering into a bedroom, while a very soft instrumental interlude for the chorus is heard. She closes the closet door in that bedroom, which has a mirror, seeing that the creature is waiting for them lying in the bed of the bedroom, and then later they are lying down in the bed together while caressing each other. For a few instants is seeing a picture in the wall of the bedroom. The painting is tied to the meeting of the tourist stairs by Irish painter Frederick William Burton, which precisely comes to attention as the context behind the painting talks about unrequited love, or even forbidden in some cases as they described in the song. The music video then finishes with Bambie still with the creature in the bed and still caressing, showing a relaxed and serene look. It is to stand out that the concept seen in the music video as we've seen before. It was conceived with the idea of being cutesy, spooky and comedic, all at the same time according to them, which it was initially thought to be much darker from what it was finally seen. They also were promoting their entry, as many of the fellow contestants from the audition, in many of the Eurovision parties of the season, with a very good performance from them. This dark thing, in the other hand, will be more reflected and emphasized during their live performances, as will be revealed both in their participation at Eurosong and in the contest itself. Recalling the staging in the national final as part of the special edition of the Late Late Show, it was essentially focused on Bambie at the center of the stage, joined by two dancers wearing black jester costumes while they do their performance. They look like a witch ballerina, I will say, with their makeup standing out, with their face in white, their lips and eyelids in black, and a Celtic knot in their forehead. Both the lighting and the visual graphics are moody in the song. During the verses are mostly blue with dark visual elements, which include many rules and sigils, while during the chorus are mostly pink, with visual elements showing a castle in the clouds like in the fairy tales. By the verses, Bambie's attitude is more visceral, but in the chorus is more placid, even doing a ballet choreography with the dancers. I guess making a wink to the ballerina face that they wanted to do since Saba. During the bridge, the lighting becomes red while they sing along at the center of the stage, and then by the outro, the lighting is blue again, with then of the dancers performing a choreography that I would describe as gloomy, while they do the growler voice, until the performance finishes with their stage name appearing in the LED screens at the bottom of the stage. It is to be said in this case that after their performance, both the audience and the judges present in the studio were pretty shocked with their proposal, which was also evidenced with their maximum scores, that will eventually give them the victory in the national final. In the other hand, for the staging in Mumbo, the concept will evolve in comparison to the one done in the national final, according to what it could be seen during the first rehearsals. There will be in this case a circular base with runes and Celtic motifs, full of candles showing in a quite original way the magic so good they intended to portray in the music video, and with a lot of white smoke on the stage floor. Bambie's outfit is more elaborated compared to the national final, giving it an aspect much more similar to Well Witch together with their hair. They will be joined by a male dancer, which looks like a half-human, half-demon being, simulating being the creature boyfriend described both in the lyrics of the song and the music video. I want to stand out here something that caught my attention a lot. Originally, they had during the rehearsals a linear makeup in Ogan, which is the original form of Ancient Irish, before evolving to the language known nowadays, which had the messages ceasefire and freedom for Palestine in their face and leg respectively. This was somehow gone viral in social media, as the first pictures from the rehearsals came out. In this sense, Bambie, together with many artists from the audition, were of the most critical about the aggression that it is still done by Israel in the Gaza Strip, and therefore with Israel's participation in this year. After realizing this detail, the European Broadcasting Union intervened, forcing them to not use their makeup ahead of the next rehearsals and the live performances, to keep the more political nature of the contest according to the organization, which leaves me in contradiction because of the double standards they are applying. Many of us know that many participating countries have been doing implicit political statements during the performances throughout the years. It is just like these are applied for some ones and not applied for some other ones. Even so, they decided to not use it, but they do not miss the opportunity to complain about it as many times as they could. Watching their live performance in the first semi-final, it starts with a stage in Dago keeping close-ups of Bambie while they perform the first verse. In some moment, a non-human R&D is taking theirs, looking like it has been in vogue. And then in the first chorus, the half-human, half-demon male dancer is seen more in detail, which interacts romantically with Bambie in some way, while there are visual graphics with a crescent moon and a full moon. For the second verse, many things happen. Bambie gets disrupted in one hand while they do their pagan ritual. Soon thereafter, they enlighten all of the candles of their circle with its hand, while a pentagram is shown just in the middle. The male dancer also gets disrupted during the instance they perform the spell, and then they interact with the camera transmitting the spooky side of the song. For the second chorus, Bambie and the male dancer start to perform a very elaborate choreography, which has reminiscences from classic ballet. And then for an instant, the male dancer takes them away the black ballerina outfit to reveal another one inspired in the transgender pride flag. With the bridge, the lighting is red again, keeping close-ups of them while the male dancer still interacts with steps of contemporary dance. Then you can see the circle of candles levitating, while in the visual graphics there is a mosaic of runes and Celtic motifs. By the outro, the lighting is more frantic, with Bambie having much more presence on the stage. Then later, the male dancer, which gets a more defiant and aggressive attitude towards them, tries to capture them, but then they could trump him by applying a hex, while they perform the growler voice with much intensity, making the male dancer to shake out on the floor. Also outstanding with the shots from above, where is seen the circle of candles elevated. It is the climax moment, also with a frantic lighting and fire columns. In the final instant, they're finishing with a kick, supposing that they have annihilated him. and the performance finishes with the stage getting almost dark, with the phrase "Ground the Witch" appearing in the leg screens at the bottom of the stage. If there is something to say about this performance, it's that I have been attentive from beginning to end, and I think it has been absolutely shocking. Certainly they have appealed not only their skills as singer and songwriter, but also have appealed to their skills learned from musical theater and ballet. It is clear that they knew how to set a full show with their proposal. Vocally they were amazing, with a vocal performance even much better than the studio recording, which elevated to the higher level. From here I had the feeling that it could be the dark horse in their semi-final, and I wasn't wrong in fact, as they got qualified to the grand final, thus breaking the spell Ireland had, now more than ever better said, by having been eliminated in the semi-final since 4 editions ago. However, before the grand final, an unprecedented conflict in the contest was about to explode. In the case of Bambie, they were in many of the crisis meetings held by the Irish delegation with the EBU, after them suffering an intense bullying from both many members of the Israeli delegation and the Israeli commentators during the live performance, and even was one of the many countries that directly threatened the EBU to not perform until they reached one agreement a few minutes before the start of the show. Even so, this can be interpreted in many ways, because in one hand, withdrawing just before the start of the grand final will mean paying a substantial fine, from which the broadcaster will probably not have the enough funds to pay for it. And in the other hand, an eventual withdrawal of many countries will suppose that significant damage to the Eurovision brand, conditioning the continuity of the contest itself in the future. Then in the grand final, with the issue partially solved, because as of today we do not know neither all what happened nor which agreement came in the last minute. It will happen an unprecedented and also surprising coincidence. They will place sets after the votes for the jury. Then, after combining it with the votes for the public, they will finally place sets in the final ranking, and also placing sets after the reveal of the full televoting results. Many will have crossed themselves and spilled holy water to the TV, thinking that they could be really the Antichrist or the devil itself. But leaving these arguments aside, which are technically influenced by the Christian religion, there is no doubt that they have achieved a more than outstanding result. Making a summary of all of the comments, the Irish entry for this year is spookily unique. It is a proposal that initially seemed to be quite unnoticed, and even by taking into account that it is not an easy listening song, and that it is the first time that Ireland sends a so disruptive and different entry in the competition, supposing in this case a very high risk. But curiously, it has been growing throughout the season, and the truth to be said is that the result has been absolutely surprising in a good way. I'm pointing out this especially because it is not a song that I do especially like. It is not a song that I will normally listen, but the proposal has been so perfectly well done, especially with those several references to the Gaelic Celtic culture and paganism in the country much before the influence of Christianism, that it was impossible for this to go unnoticed, and I got totally convinced. This result is remarkable by many aspects. First, as I have commented before, Ireland went back to the grand final since the last time in 2018, ending with a disqualification streak. Second, Bambie's entry achieved the best ranking for the Gaelic country in a grand final over 24 years. And third, they also achieved the best score from an Irish entry since the participation of the country at the contest. However, it was a quite bittersweet result for them, taking into account all the tension of the trauma lived in the backstage until a few moments before the grand final. Although we have to admit that despite all that what happened, they had offered a memorable proposal that will be remembered for a long time. Anyway, I still think that their participation in the contest has supposed a big boost in their musical career. In fact, they will soon embark in a European tour to promote their EP, so probably we will still have much more news for them. And you, what do you think about the Irish entry for this year? Leave your comments down below so we can follow up the discussion. And this is it for today's episode. If this video has been of your taste, then give a like so it can be reached by more people. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel as well, enable notifications by the bell to be aware of the upcoming reviews, and follow me through my social media. Take care and see you in the next episode. Bye bye.